Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. And with us, we have Madam Saliza Abdullah. She is from BG Capital Group of Companies. This is the Next Gen series brought to you by the L Space, an initiative by BinaPavo. So the title of this session is Our 2021 Journey, Strengthening Family Values and Business Sustainability.
Good afternoon, Dr. Lay. It's nice to see you once again, and a lot of familiar faces in the Zoom session today. Okay, I know you know my company very well, but for the information for those who are new, okay, so basically I am from a family business by the name of BG Capital Holdings group of companies. We have been in business for almost 29 years, and I'm super excited that this coming January, in less than 40 days, we will be celebrating our 30th anniversary. Okay, so we started back in 1992, and the business that we had back then was solely a physical guarding services. It was pretty much a very labor-intensive business. It was a business that was set up by my late mother as well as our business founder. However, over the years, especially after I joined the family business back in 2001, that was around after I completed my studies from Purdue University in the United States. Together with my mom, we decided to restructure the business. We managed to expand the business and diversify our businesses to beyond just physical guarding services. So in short, what BG Capital Holding is today, we are basically a one-stop integrated safety and solutions provider, advocating sustainability and impact. What it means is that we provide security services as well as training and consultancy services, risk management, and we have also ventured into security technologies, cyber security, AI surveillance, drone, as well as we do have a chain of the base, which is an event community space in Subang Jaya, in Alustar, as well as in Johor, whereby we use that open space to conduct a number of workshops or skill workshops for the empowerment of women and community in the area that we serve. So in short, that is what BG Capital Holdings is all about.
Okay, thank you, Saliza. So a lot has happened in the past, I would say 10, 15 years, especially, whereby the company has diversified into many other things, be it drone, be it skill enhancement and even training and so on. Yeah, so a lot of things has been put into place over the past couple of years, especially the past 10 to 15 years. So maybe I'll ask you the first question, Saliza. What was the main turning point where you and your family decided to formalize the family governance, especially with regards to putting structure and process for the family? And in doing so, why did the family decided to put up those structure and process?
Okay, I'm happy to share with everyone that we have actually decided to work with BinaPavo to put together our family constitution. Okay, and what made we decided to do that? Actually, it was inspired from a program that I personally attended back in September 2016. I was one of the lucky ones that got chosen by HRDF. I think currently it's now known as Human Resource Development Corp, when they actually organized a program called the Family Business Management Program at the University of Jaén, Spain, in collaboration with the National Associations of Women Entrepreneurs of Malaysia. So there were about 23 family business owners that got selected to undergo this 7 to 10 days program in Spain. So the courses was actually conducted by a subject matter expert, a professor from the university. So I guess the inspiration that I got from that session is to be able to benchmark our family business with some of the successful family businesses, especially in Spain. I'm sure all of us, especially Dr. Lay, you are aware about the brand Zara and a few other brand, popular brand from Spain. These are companies which has been around for more than even 5 generations, okay? And let's just look at Zara as an example. Although it has grown so big, but the ownership of the company still remain within the family members. So when I look at a company like Zara, I got inspired that, hey, they can do it. They can grow so big, diversify into a lot of other businesses, but still maintain the ownership of the business within the family. So it was through the program that I got inspired, managed to meet a lot of like successful family business owners in that particular country. So when I came back in Malaysia, that's when I actually shared the experience with my mother. It just so happened that a year prior to that so-called study trip in Spain, my mom, she had already put together, I would say, a preliminary step into making sure that the transition from first to generation family members would be in order, whereby she has actually appointed a trust company to structure her hiba, her will, and put together on paper her aspiration for the business. So put these two together, family constitution, the importance of having a structured family constitution with my mom's aspiration, we feel that it is important to have, a written document to highlight on the vision, mission, the aspiration, and the process, so that the actual transition process will be carried out smoothly. So that was when, after coming back from the program, I shared the experience with my mom as well with my sisters. But unfortunately, 2 months later, my mom passed away. So we didn't actually get to do the family constitution together. So after she passed away, of course, for the last few years, my sisters and I, we were occupied and busy in making sure, that the business will still running smoothly. But then finally in 2020, upon the graduation of our 3rd generation family members, we felt that it is important to have our family constitution in order, so that it will be used as a reference or as a guide for the transition, or to enable our future family members to come on board, having a clear idea about the process.
Okay, all right. It's interesting, Saliza, that you mentioned, you went to Spain and you actually went there together, and acquire more knowledge and get more information on how you, as a 2nd generation, should, be participating in the family legacy and continuity. Right, so I think many out there have yet to do that, and because you have done that, and you have done this, a couple of years back, so it shows that the family has strategically, in a way, strategically, in a way, a plan for not just sustainability of the business, but in ensuring the longevity of the family legacy.
Correct. Right? And to add on to that, Dr. Lee, how the whole idea or like the aspiration came about, it was not like my mom and I had like a brainstorming, like a formal brainstorming exercise. It was just over maybe dinner or coffee, or maybe, through our experience, working together, that we share one common vision for the business. That is, the business is for the family. Okay, one. And secondly, the business has to be around for the long haul. It's not about, okay, Saliza, get the highest bidder, let's sell this company and, you know, turn around the company, make your first 1 billion and let's sell off this company. It's not about that. It's about the family. The business is for the family, okay? And whatever family business that we are in, it has to be around for the long haul, because it's not just about money. Of course, when we do business, we need to think about the bottom line. Of course, it will be, it's not a smart idea if you want to, you know, maintain the longevity of your business when you are not profitable. Of course, profit is there, but the most important thing, you need to have a clear vision and a sense of purpose. What is the purpose of being for the family business? For us, as I mentioned, when we started the business, we were in the physical guarding services. And I think it's quite similar in other parts of the world, that most of the workforce within the industry are not the highly, you know, educated or qualified people. Mainly in Malaysia, we're talking about the B40, okay, or the underserved communities, or this is not like the first career option for fresh graduate. Let's just put it that way. So if we are not around, for example, we have almost 500 workers right now, okay? We could have easily, for example, if you're talking about COVID, we could have easily taken the easy way out by retrenching, you know, a number of employees, or maybe carry out a pay cut, okay, to ensure the profitability of the company. But I'm very proud to share with you, Dr. Lay, that until now, we have not retrenched anyone. We have not reduced the salary of anyone within our company for the purpose of reducing the costs or increasing the profit of our business during COVID. So it's about empathy. It's about taking care of your employees as if you were to take care of your own family members. So that has always been the vision, our sense of purpose, our reason of being. So when you have that in mind, then you know that you need to remain healthy, you need to remain profitable, you need to be around for the long haul, so that you will be able to provide for all these families who are under your care. So with that in mind, that's when my mom and I decided, okay, let's do something, let's make sure that it's going to be around. But the family constitution not only tackles that, that aspiration, but it also ensures that all the family members within our family, because the definition of family member is not just my children. We're talking about my sister's children, we're talking about our uncles, about our aunties and all that. So how can these family members come on board? What are their roles and responsibilities? How can they be an active player to actually enhance and together grow the business? So it's not just about me and my children, it's about everyone in the family. So by having a family constitution, it really helps to give a clear idea to everyone. The processes becomes more transparent, okay? Because we have to remember, as a leader in a family business, you're talking about stewardship. Yeah, it's not about you are a leader and everything that you have right now is yours. You must be ready when the time comes. You must be able to hand over the baton to the next generation to lead the company, do whatever it takes to, you know, propel or to grow the business, so that the business perhaps will remain around for 100 years. Now we are just about to turn 30, Dr. Lay, but we look forward to celebrate our 50th anniversary, and inshallah, you know, for 100 years, we will be able to reach 100 years old.
Yes, yes. So it's totally fine. You know, sometimes when we talk to families in business, we say that, you know, when you plan for the family, you have to see it 50 or 100 years down the road, yeah, not just do your 3-year or your 5-year plan, yeah, because I think you have it right, yeah, in terms of what BG Capital Holdings is doing, yeah, the fact that you're planning it for the next 50, 100 years, yeah. So I want to ask you the next question, but before I do that, I'd like to just comment on what you said about, you know, the family sitting down at the dinner table. So we hear a lot of this, that family members will sit down at the dinner table and, you know, make decisions. And this is, I think, quite common in all family businesses, be it micro, small, medium, large, even public listed companies. If the shareholders are families, even though they have only like 10% or 5% of a public listed company, but if they are the majority of the shareholder, they usually sit down at the dinner table and make some kind of decision at the dinner table. But it's interesting that when you said the decisions that you also make at the dinner table is for the family, because the business is for the family, rather than the business is out there purely for making money or selling it off after a couple of years. So I think that is a very interesting perspective that you put there, whereby the discussion should not just be about the business at the dinner table, but also about the longevity of the family and the legacy of the family. I'd like to remind those of you who are here with us, if you have any questions, please key in your questions at the chat section, and then we'll handle that at the end of the session, about 4:40, so on. All right, so my next question, Saliza, your family have gone through developing the family strategic plan, or putting structure and process, which is family governance. So you went through a 6 months process in developing the family governance. Perhaps you can share what were some of the expectations, some of the challenges, the successes of having family members to sit down over the course of 6 months to actually decide on what should be the main key content in the family constitution. Can you share with us?
Okay, certainly. Indeed, to put together the family constitution is not an easy process, Dr. Lee, and I know you would agree with me because you were there throughout the 6 months process. It can be overwhelming, but I think it's important to remember that failing to plan is like planning to fail. So if your aspiration is to preserve the family business and the family legacy, you must get this done, whether you like it or not. Challenges put aside, you must be able to make sure that you need to have a structured family constitution, because like I said, it's easier maybe when there's only like my mom and I, or maybe first and second generation. But what will happen when more family members from your extended families or the third generation or the fourth were to come on board? So it is important for the family business or then the family to have a written or a document on this family constitution, so that the vision of the family business will not sway when you have new members on board. So for us, expectation wise, after learning what I have learned in Spain, and actually doing it, in Malaysia back in 2021, I thought at first, it was just going to be like, okay, this is going to be, just do this once and for all, and we will be able to refer to this document forever. But as reminded by Professor Moha, this is going to be a living document. What it means is that continuous commitment from all the family members are very important. The documents or the family constitution that we have right now is only going to last maybe, for a couple of years, okay? But it can be reviewed from time to time, looking at the environment that we are in, looking at the economic situation. So changes have to be made on the family constitution so that it will be able to cater to the need of the future generation. So be mindful that this is not going to be like a one-off process. It is a continuous commitment, but it's good to have the initial family constitution document in front of you so that you will use it as a guide as and when you need to make changes to the document. And of course, challenges, to me, I think it applies for everyone, that it's not easy to get the consensus, from everyone. I like purple, my sister might like another color, my niece might like a different color. So it's important to actually give and take and prioritize the decision or the importance of the decision. You know, you cannot be like, okay, it has to be like my way or her way or my niece's way. We have to come to an agreement on what is important for the family. So when we come to a crossroad, you know, we don't know which option we need to choose, we always go back to kind of like trying to remember what would mom want to do or want to be, or whatever decision that she might have made in regards to that particular questions that we have in hand. So I think that's the challenges, but we are lucky that we are still able to kind of have like, okay, let's prioritize, let's give and take, and let's focus on the business as the primary objective. It's not just about personal interests, yeah, or about the nucleus family as interest. It's about the families, the interests of the family as a whole. And for us, it's quite lucky that we don't have a lot of family members, okay? So it's easier to manage when you have, you know, smaller number of potential decision makers in the process of coming up with the family constitution. And I think this is something that was also mentioned by another successful family business owner, Datuk Sri Michael Teo. He did mention that start planning now when we are small. Don't wait until you have become so big, you know, you have so many family members, or you are ready to go for, you know, listing, you know, that's when, you know, it is going to be more difficult for you to come up with the family constitution. So start now when the company or the business is still small, manageable, and use it as a reference or as a guide for the future's development. And for us, I would say that I'm going to share with you, Dr. Lim, as well as with all the audience who are in the session. There are 3 key contents that I believe has been proven successful for us, and something that we have decided to incorporate in our family constitution. One is with regards to allocating a certain percentage of our family business or company's dividend into the family trust fund, okay? Because I think it applies in all family businesses that you would have, you know, certain family assets and certain companies asset, but we have actually put an allocation that a small percentage of the dividend will be allocated to this family trust fund for the purpose of the conservation of some of the key family asset as well as the traditions. Okay, so it's important to have that, and it's also a message actually to all the family members that in order for us to have a higher contribution from that allocation, everyone must be able to contribute and together grow the business. If they are not participating, hence the provision is the allocation is going to be so small, and they would need to use their personal fund to actually top up and maintain whatever it is that we want to preserve in the family. So that's one of the things that we have actually incorporated in the family constitution. The second item would be we actually put together an employment policy involving the next generation family members. Okay, so meaning the message that we are trying to tell the future generation, put aside the entitlement mindset. Just because you are related by blood, you know, with the business founder, that you are entitled to be part of the family business. Whatever it is, you need to earn it. It's not by virtue of the relationship. So there's no such thing as, you know, you are entitled for such a thing. You have to work and prove your worthiness to be part of the family business. And when I talk about worthiness, it's not just about academic qualification, you know, it's never about academic qualification. I remember my mom always said that whenever we bring on board, you know, new employees, let's put aside the academic qualification first. Let's look at the attitude okay, and the commitment of the person who we want to bring on board to be part of the family business. So the same applies for the family members, that they need to be able to commit, they need to be able to show, understand their roles and responsibilities. Hence the reason why we put together the employment policy, whereby we allow them to actually not join the family business for a certain number of years, go out, explore, gain as much knowledge as possible. When the time, when you are ready to come on board, you will come with a wealth of knowledge and new business ideas that will be beneficial for the family business. So that is something that we have also incorporated. And the third one, this is very important. We have actually diversified the role of leaders, when it comes to the family as well as the business. So for example, in our case, because I've been with the business for almost 20 years, that I've been put in charge as the key person in leading the business growth, whereas my sister is the person that we have actually assigned to lead the family. So when it comes to parties, when it comes to family gatherings, the fun stuff, she's the one who is in charge and making sure that our family members, even the extended family members, will be invited to celebrate whatever it is that is relevant in the journey of growing our family business.
Okay, all right. So yeah, that's a very comprehensive description, on how your family structure or develop the family governance as well as the family constitution. So I think it's interesting, and it's nice that you listed down the 3 points. Allocate a percentage of dividend, to ensure that what needs to be budgeted is budgeted, for ahead of time, especially in running the for the need of the family members with regards to perhaps the parties, the gathering, the maintenance of certain property, for example, as well as maybe education and stuff like that. So allocate a certain percentage. That's what we heard, and then the employment policy put in place, because as you say, we do not want to have that mindset whereby you think that you deserve that position just because you are a bloodline. And finally, the diversification, or rather leadership diversification,
right? Segregation.
Segregation. So your elder sister is actually taking care of the family aspect, the leadership role of the family. So she's the chair of the family council.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay. So all right. So again, I'll remind the participants, or the audience, if you have any questions, please put it up on the chat section, and then we will handle the questions later on. So I just want to move on to the next question, and this has to do with part of your employment policy, because we understand that BG Capital Holdings is open to professionalization. Meaning that looking into the option of bringing an outsider to come in, to take on certain leadership role. So you're open to professionalization. So I'd like to also understand, and perhaps you can explain how is the next generation, in your case the third generation, how are they encouraged to be involved in the business, as well as the subsidiaries that you have? How are they prepared for the challenges, and how are they learning to take on that responsibility in continuing the family legacy? Because we understand that for the information of the audience, the third generation are already in their 20s, mid-20s, right? So so they are ready. They are ready. So perhaps you can explain that, Saliza, how the third generation are being prepared for all these challenges and responsibilities.
Sure, Dr. Lee. To answer that, I perhaps would like to just give an overview to everyone. What you can see at the back is a book that I've actually personally written. Okay, I did not use any ghostwriter or whatever. That's the time spent during the MCO. It's a reflection, it's about recollecting our experiences and put it in writing. Whereby in conjunction with our 30th anniversary, we are going to publish an entrepreneurship book entitled Growing a Sustainable Family Business, our first 30 years. It will touch about the values and strategies relevant for entrepreneurs and small and medium enterprises business owners. Okay, so in the book, actually, Dr. Lay, I've segregated it into 2 areas which I feel very strongly about, which I believe it's something that is personal, but it works for our business. So I hope that it will be able to inspire and help us to further advocate on the importance of family business sustainability. One is actually about values. Okay, so when we talk about values, we're talking about something that is more relevant to the family itself. So one of the things that I mentioned in the book is the importance of understanding the reason of being. Okay, so you have to go back in understanding, why did my mother set up the business in the first place? Was it because she wanted to make her first million, sell it off, and go to some beautiful island and retire there? No, it's about making sure that her children and her family members will be well taken care of, through the income that she would get from the business. Okay, because my mom was a rank and file government officer. She was not from, an ex, whatever. She was a rank and file officer that she decided to invest all her hard-earned money in acquiring a Barani Gut, back in 1992, because of some, personal, reason, that is related to family. So she decided to jump into becoming an entrepreneur to make sure that she would be able to provide a brighter future for her children. That was her main vision. She was not the kind, she was, if you're talking about the entrepreneurship, if you look at the book, the characteristic of entrepreneurs and all that, she was never that. It was about, she wanted to make sure that her children are well taken care of. So when you go back to that, that history, understanding that history, then it will be able to give you a sense of, enables you to appreciate, whatever that you have now. So it's important to appreciate your past, your history, then it will enable you to kind of like maneuver or really decide what you need to do next. It's not about profit, it's about something else. What is the sense of being? So for us, and then the other chapter, and under the values, is also important to talk about the responsibilities, establishing family bonds. It's about entrepreneurial mindset. And the other thing under the values is about the guiding principles. We're talking about integrity. So if the vision of the mission of the business is about, let's make the most money in the next 2 years, you will be tempted in terms of doing or making a decision that might not be in line with the family business aspiration. So if you know that it's not in line with the family business aspiration, then that it's a route that you should not go. You have to think of other ways where you will be able to grow and sustain the business for the long run. And the next section of the book, we're talking about strategies. And this is where I want to touch and to answer your question with regards to the business continuity for the next generation. Okay, so one of the things that I touch is about the importance of business family balance. We hear a lot about work-life balance, and we're talking about family business. It's also important to have business family balance. So if you want to talk about family business sustainability, one cannot live without the other. You must have a good balance between business and family in order for the family business to remain sustainable. Okay, so by doing so, what you need to have are family members who know their roles and responsibilities. They might not be an active player in the business, but they must be able to know their roles in the family. To take care of, a family member who might be, in need of extra attention is also a responsibility that the family members must be able to carry out for the preservation of the family business, sustainability or success. So we're talking about that. We're talking about understanding all that. And then I think the other thing is what we have done for the in terms of promoting or encouraging the future generation family members to come on board is that I applied what my mom used when she kind of like roped me into the business, whereby she never forced me to help her in the business, okay? But what she has done, she actually exposed me to the business ever since I was little. So I remember when I was still in high school, over weekends or during school holiday, she would invite me, but never force, it was always a choice whether I want to follow her to the office, whether or not I want to do this with her, okay? So it's a choice that at the end of the day, an individual have to make, but the opportunities and the invitation must always be there. So to me, it's very important to start from small, the exposure. Even my children, I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old. Whenever I do the book editing with my editor, whenever I go to the office for some particular events, or in fact, the planning of our 30th anniversary dinner and the book launch, I incorporate them into the process. Like for example, okay, these are the designs that we have. Choose one. Which one do you like? So we make it a fun process for them. So by doing so, they will feel that they have a sense of belonging in whatever that we are doing for the preservation of the family business. So it's important to expose them from small, never force them, but let them know and understand everything, the reason of being, the vision, the aspiration of the family business. And the last thing that I want to mention is about the importance of creating a conducive environment in the business, whereby in our family business, we have always create this intrapreneurship, whereby we allow our family members to come up with new business ideas. That's how my mom treated me when I started to, throw ideas about let's do this, let's do that. Her message is always very clear. Do whatever you feel is good for the business, as long as it will not tarnish the good name of the family and the business. So my mom, she was never autocratic, although she was the business founder. So I guess that is one of the key important element about her that makes this relationship work. So that is also something that we try to embed in the family constitution, whereby we allow and we encourage all the future generation family members to come up with ideas. If they want to go into fashion, we will support, as long as they come up with a nice pitch, a nice business model. We do it in a structured way, but we allow them to be as creative as possible, because it's never a good thing when you force a person to take on a responsibility when their heart and their passions are not there. It's not going to be sustainable.
Most of the time, the founder says the children are not interested, and the children say that, my father or my mother doesn't want to hear, what I have to sell, with regards to the idea. So I think you have gone through a process and the experience that you had with your mother. I think it's applaudable. It's something to take note of. As you were saying, always encourage and always get them to be involved in the business, right? From young, never force them. So that's a good one. I also would like to ask one more. Perhaps this is just a slight diversion, but with regards to your second point, and you said that something in the line of the next generation should know their role and responsibility. Maybe Saliza, can you share a little bit on how did you, as a second generation, learn about your role and responsibility? And number two, along that line, how do you then guide your next generation, which is the third generation, who are now in their 20s, on their role and responsibility?
Okay, how I learn. Okay, for that, I think I must I must thank my mom again for always giving me the opportunity to be part of her journey. When I talk about the invitation, it's not about going to some fancy office. It's not talking about going to some fancy restaurants where she get to meet, high flyers, rub shoulders with important people. I'm talking about going to a stall, we tapao, we pack food, we're talking about at one time, I remember that it's in the book. There is an anecdote regarding this, whereby we used to have a petrol station, okay? But she had some problem in terms of acquiring workers. My mom and I had to spend the night at the petrol station in that small room, took a shower at the at that little restroom located inside the petrol station. So these are the kind of like experience or the invitation that I'm referring about. It's not about, okay, Saliza, you come and follow me to work, I'm going to reward you with something expensive or something fancy. It's not about that. So I appreciate that. So I think by being so close to her when I was little, I get to appreciate all her predicament, the challenges that she had to go through in life, the risk that she took for investing, as I mentioned earlier, her hard-earned money into setting up or acquiring this business. It was a risk that she was willing to take, but for what reason? Was it for popularity? Was it because she wanted to earn, the first million? A million back then was very big, and now we're talking about billions, But was that her main objective? No, it was about, Saliza, I want you to have, not just me, I'm talking about the whole children. I want you to have a bright future. I will give you the freedom to do whatever that you want. But I remember that when I graduated from Purdue, of course, she was there to celebrate it with me. Of course, she asked me the question then, would you like to help me in the family business? I could have easily said no because I was like the youngest child in the family. There are only 3 siblings, 3 sisters. I could have easily said no at that time, and perhaps took another option that, perhaps, decided to work in the States, or work in the corporate. But then the experience that I had, with my mom, the way she looked at me, I guess it's about brainwashing. It's not about that. It's about, acknowledging the experience and appreciating the experience, the bond that you built with, like in my case, with my mom, really showed me that there is a bigger role that you have to play, Saliza. You have to be the right hand woman for your mother in terms of continuing this family business legacy. So honesty, trust is very important to be instilled from young. And as I mentioned earlier as well, my mom, she was never autocratic. She was never, not even once, she said to me like, this is my money, you have to listen to what I tell you to do. She was never like that. So I guess for future, for business founders, or for me, in the case of passing on this baton to the future generation, I must emulate that that character of my mom, that we can never be forceful, but we can only show good examples to our future generations, because they will be able to see, they will be able to observe. Okay, whatever you say and do, they will listen. They might not utter, they might not go against you, but they will be able to understand. And I'm pretty sure that if you are truly sincere with what we want to do in the family business, that our children would be able to appreciate. So that is something that I learned from my mom, and I'm hoping that the kind-hearted and the goodness in her is something that I will be able to emulate and do it with the future family generation member. Because if you go back a bit about leadership, my character and my mom are totally different. I'm always like the bad cop, like, oh, I'm so aggressive, I want this to be done my way. But going back to my mom was like this, I need to tone down because we need to find a balance. As I mentioned earlier, need to find a balance between the relationship of business and family. So of course, as a leader of the family business, we need to adjust to make sure that the whole process will be conducive for everyone, because it's not just about you, it's about the rest of the family members as well.
Yeah, I think yeah, certainly you hit the point there, and you mentioned this earlier on also, it's not work-life balance, but it's business-family balance. Yeah. And the fact that in this case and perhaps your sisters as well are able to take a step back and reflect. Yeah. To do that reflection on what needs to be done, to ensure that the next generation are also able to benefit, from not just from the business, but certainly from all the good values that your mother had passed on to you and your sisters. Yeah. All right. So okay. So before we go to the last question, I want to touch on the questions that are being posted by the audience. So again, if you have any questions, just put it up on the chat section. So I'm going to first take on Shahna's Tessin's question. Her question is, what are the biggest challenges for your family business during the ongoing pandemic situation, and how you are overcoming these challenges?
Okay, thank you, Shehnaz, for that question. I think I might have touched this a bit earlier on, whereby I think this is all the enterprises, not just in Malaysia, but in other parts of the world, face the same problem. We're talking about cash flow, we're talking about the uncertainties with regards to the income of the business. So for us, we're quite lucky because we have diversified and expanded. So meaning to say, under our group of companies, we do have essential services as well as non-essential services. What it means for those who are I think quite familiar with the movement control order in Malaysia, technically when we're talking about the essential services, it's business as usual during the pandemic. So we are quite lucky because we do have that section of the business under our group. Of course, we have a few other ventures that we were unable to make any income because of the pandemic. But what has happened is that, as I mentioned, we focus on what is important. Is it to maintain the profitability of the business, or perhaps it's more important to make sure that every single employees or every single family members who are on board are well taken care of during the pandemic. So we go back to being more empathetic towards our employees. So by doing so, we kind of like restructure in terms of the cost, expenses and all that, by making sure that everyone will not be retrenched or get any salary cuts during the pandemic. So that was actually one of the biggest challenge with regards to income and with regards to cash flow. But Alhamdulillah, we managed to overcome, and as I mentioned, until today, we are still able to continue the business as usual. And hopefully now that, they have started to reopen all the business and economy, that it will be business back to normal anytime soon. So always focus on the importance and the priority of your business.
All right.
I hope I answer your question, Shehnaz.
All right. So next question. This is from Moha himself. Since the family has decided on the dividend policy and source of financing and maintaining the family trust and wealth, this is part of the family strategic plan or the family governance. How does this impact or influence the planning for the operating businesses in terms of profitability and the growth, i.e. the business strategic plan?
Okay, Dr. Moha, I cannot go into detail. That will be like the secret of our family business. But what I can share with everyone today is that whatever we do now or today or whatever we plan is not something that we have a long-term plan for it. It's not something that, let's do this out of the blue we came up with the idea. There must always be a reason, a concrete reason why we decided to do whatever that we want to do. So for example, in conjunction with the 30th anniversary, on 22nd of January, we decided to publish a book, something that we feel that it would be a nice tribute to our business founder, as well as to let everyone know what have we achieved for the last 30 years, okay? So it will be able to kind of like allow us a platform to share or advocate on family business sustainability. And I'm very happy to share that apart from the book launch, apart from organizing a nice family, company celebration dinner on the 22nd, the next day, we are going to have a strategic workshop, planning, okay? We actually have decided to work with one company. So basically, they will assist us in helping us to come up with strategic planning for the next 5 years. So meaning to say they can enjoy their karaoke, dancing after dinner, but the next day, a number of the key personnel, including our board members, my sister Salina and Liana, will have to be part of that strategic planning workshop so that we will be able to, put together our plans for at least the next 5 years. So that, to answer that question, is going to be in the strategic planning, but that is something that you have to do. You have put the allocation, you need to be able to strategically think what needs to be done in order for that provision to be materialized. Otherwise, it's just going to be a theory that look nice on paper, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Go ahead, Saliza, finish off your sentence. I'm sorry.
So I was just going to say, so Dr. Moha, if you want to know the detail, you can have like a one-to-one or with Dr. Lay's, session on how we are going to do this. So yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to say, some families out there, when they develop their family constitution, it's just, as you said, it's just a theory or on paper, but I'm happy to hear that a lot of the things that you are doing is now ensuring that what is written in the family constitution is now being implemented moving forward. So that's a very good update that I'm hearing, and I like the fact that get them to karaoke and dance the night away, and then tomorrow, let's get serious and let's plan for the next 5 years. Wonderful. Okay, so next question. This is from Dicky Ang, all the way from Singapore. So his question is, how does the family deal with disputes, disagreement, especially in the future?
Okay. Hi, Dicky. Thank you for the question. Again, it's very important to have the company's vision, mission, and aspiration to be documented. Hence the reason why it is important. I must stress this, that it is important not only you have the constitution for your business, but it is also important for you to have family constitution for the family, because it will spell out in terms of how you want to govern the family business, what would be the values, what would be the principles when it comes to preserving the family business. So it is important to have a family constitution. So for example, when it comes to mitigating the risk of not having any future family members to come on board, for example, we are not going to force. My niece is here, she's listening, okay? So we're not going to force any of our future family members to come on board, but we hope they would be participative enough in terms of participating in the activities that we do under our company, so that they will be able to understand, okay? So in the employment policy, for example, in the family constitution, there is a what if. So we have already mitigated the risk. What if none of the family members decided not to join the family members? So there will be a provision. We already have that provision. So when the board of the company needs to implement that, none of the family members can dispute. because it has already been spelled out clearly. So for example, I'm just giving this as an example. If they decided that they do not want to be part of the family business, for example, they're not going to enjoy any shares or any dividend. So because it's been spelled out in the family constitution, there will be no, conflict among, siblings, among family members, because all of them were already there when we drafted the family constitution. So that's one of the ways, hence the reason why family constitution is very important. So that is one. And secondly, as a business, okay, you need to come up with a list of contingency plan. Okay, what if is to answer all the questions about what if you do not have any future family members to come on board. What if you do not have the resources, but you do have the aspiration to grow the business? Perhaps go for, IPO, perhaps bring on board a professional, but whatever that you want to do must be spelled out in the family constitution. And as I said, it is a continuous process. It is a living document. So that's why whenever we have our board of directors meeting, although it's not monthly, it's been spelled out that the relevant family members needs to be part of the meeting so that they understand what are the changes that we're going to be doing in the business that will affect the family. But at the end of the day, what we want is we hope that we can be as big as the company Zara, for example, but until today, they're still able to maintain the ownership within their family members. So we hope we'll be able to mitigate and minimize any risk by having this family constitution for our family.
Before we end, I have one last question to Saliza. What would be your advice to families who aspire to formalize their family governance, as well as, preparing their mindset, and also emotional readiness, because, this is just not about drafting and putting it on paper, but certainly it involves emotion. This was also reflected with the fact that you said, you survived the COVID-19 very much because the family has empathy, a lot of empathy. So what is your advice to families who wants to formalize their governance? How do they prepare themselves, in terms of their mindset, in terms of their emotion?
Okay. My advice to everyone is to read up chapter 5 in my book. The topic is on leadership and stewardship. Okay, I did touch a lot, actually 4 main important leadership styles that would be able to promote a more conducive, family business transition with regards to the relationship between the first generation and the second generation. So we're talking about, but I'm just going to share one. I think it's important to have in your mindset the steward leadership. Because when you talk about steward leadership, if you are able to have that embedded in you in terms of how you want to lead your organization, not just about the family, but the family business as well, you will be able to have a better understanding about your role. Okay, so steward leadership is very important. It's about understanding that you are not there, and it's everything that you do now is not just going to be yours. You must be able to prepare yourself and the future generation, hoping that they would be able to accept and be ready to accept the baton. The steward leadership, okay, is something. So for those who yet to get my book, there is a lengthy sharing with regards to 4 main leadership styles. So I think as business founders, you need to be able to kind of like have a reflection. Are you an autocratic leader? If you are, it's not going to work when it comes to ensuring the succession or the transition of the family, because your second or the future family generation member would feel intimidated. They're not going to enjoy working with you because they feel that they always have to listen to you. And dealing with millennials, we must always be very open. They are very creative human beings. They like to live very free and easy, so we have to be able to cater. You have to look at the generation gap and how to tackle. And I think the most important thing is to understand or to reflect or even change your leadership style so that it is more acceptive by the future family generation members, as well as the loyal employees in your companies who have the potentials of becoming professionals and take a more important role in your family business. So that would be my short answer. Read up chapter 5 in my book.
Okay, yes, there you go. There was I think one more question regarding, where are they going to buy the book? So don't worry about that. Later on, or Saliza, you can go ahead and say that, and then I will reiterate.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that question. There are two ways where you can do this. One, you can go to our Facebook page, BG Capital Holdings, okay? Or just go to our website, www.bgcapital.com.my. We have a dedicated web store that we use and that would enable not only Malaysians, okay, but interested readers from other parts of the world to safely purchase the book from our web store.
Okay, right. So I think that is easy to access and easy to buy. Yeah. So don't wait no more. Yeah, get onto it. Book your book and book your book. Okay, and
book your book. Pre-book your book.
Pre-book
your
book.
Book is only going to be launched on January 22nd. So pre-book your book today.
Today, right? Okay. So and you'll get your copy, by at least by end of January. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. Right. Okay.
By early January. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So lovely. All right. So I think with that, if there's no more question, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this session. I'd like to thank Saliza Abdullah, the Managing Director of BG Capital Group of Companies, for taking time to be with us for slightly over an hour. I know she's busy, especially with the book and of course definitely with the business. So thank you so much, Saliza, for being here with us and sharing all these things, your experience, your family's journey into 2021, especially in developing and implementing the family strategic plan or the family governance. Thank you so much, Saliza, and thank you all the audience. We hope to see you again sometime.